Greetings and salutations, my name is JW608 and today I am playing StarMade and we are getting back to the basics. And today I want to kind of wrap everything we've learned, well almost everything we've learned, up together and make a basic starship or spaceship, depending on what you want to call it. So first of all, we need a core. So we're just going to pop it in, doesn't matter what we call it, and let's hop in. So I am in remove mode, but I don't want to be in remove mode. So what are we going to need? Well, for a basic spaceship, we need some sort of block for building. We need power. We'll need stabilizers, thrusters, and Rema shields, and some shields. With these, we can build a basic spaceship, and let's throw in some beam weapons for fun. All right. And then also let's grab a little bit of armor. We want some dark gray basic. And no. Well, we want dark gray standard and a little regular gray standard. Now, you'll notice in my hotbar I've arranged it, so usually I'll have a basic building block on one. Then I'll have some things that are similar and a divider and things because the stabilizer, shield capacitor, and shield recharger kind of look similar. So I give this space I mark up between them. Like I have a standard before I do some more systems and all that. That all gets jumbled up, but that's how I started out. Almost like a painter in his palette. So what do I normally do? Normally, we're going to turn on symmetry mode, and we want to make sure we're pointed forward. Now we also need to determine what this ship wants to be when it grows up. We're going to do this just a standard combat vessel. So I'm just going to mark this out. Let's see. There we go. Normally what I do is I build an interior. And we're going to have just a little interior here. We're just marking it out. This isn't my actual interior. And then I usually build systems. Now, what do I want this ship to do? Well, we want it to be semi-competent. So we're going to give it... two 5x5 blocks of reactor. And we're going to put those toward the back. And stabilizers here. This is going to give us a lot of power to work with. 25,000 power. So next up, we need some thrusters. So tell you what, let's give it wings. Let's give it wings out here. There we go. Now, how big do I want my thrusters? Well, probably not a 5x5x5. So we're going to do something like this. Give it sort of a X-wing type profile, but not really. Like a Z95 profile. Anyway, so we're gonna come down here. Recharge is 25 thrusters. We're gonna take a look at the thrusters. Consumption that's gonna be eating 2,000 per second. And let's see. Oh, let's just give it that much. Thrusters, I'm just putting them on here basically to maneuver, because thrusters is one of the final things you should finalize on your ship. And let's see, how about some shields? Why is it one of the final things? Because your thrust is going to change as you add more blocks and mass to it. So it might not always be the same. In fact, I'm going to add a bunch of armor on here. So I'm not going to maintain this 5.0 thrust to mass. So I'm going to have to come back and add more thrusters later. All right, so next important thing is a shield. Let's do a 5x5 here. I like to put down my rechargers first, because they all have to be in a unit. How much energy is that using? All right, now for shields. I like to take my shields up so it uses 25% of my reactor. Don't know why, that's just what I do. And we'll extend our internals here. Okay. That's nice. And we're going to make this a rear docking unit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Pull off the symmetry. I'm going to use my universal docker template and put symmetry back on. Except that was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to put a layer of gray there. You have to think about these things, like I don't. Load and paste. There we go. Why is that? Because, or why did I do that? Because I can form like this little hallway here. All right. So it's taking shape. Now let's deal with the weapon system. We're just going to use a straight damage beam. We're going to set that. We're going to set it here, right here. Why are you going to set it right here? Why don't? Well, I'm actually let's put it up front. I'll tell you why that's generally a bad idea. Up front, you get shot at. So put it back here. You have to shoot through more stuff to get it. But since I guess this is just a little combat vessel, not a lot going for it, we'll stick it back there. And let's make sure we have our symmetry back on. And let's do something like that. Ooh, that takes more power than I have. All right, so is this even a good weapon? I don't know. I haven't even tested it yet. We're gonna rip some of those out. We want to set the outputs here and here. If you press R on a output module, or a weapon barrel, basically, you can set where the beam or where the projectile comes from. All right. So how do I know if that's even a halfway decent? Well, you test it against something. Like an Isanth. What's an Isanth? Isanth's like the default pirate. And you give him a second to spawn in, and he has good shields, and you go, pew! And if you can take out an Isanth, you are combat viable, if you will. There we go, except that shredded the shields, but it doesn't have an awful lot to do with the internals, helping with the internals. So that probably means I need a secondary weapon system. How much power am I using? Consumption including docks is 34%, so yeah, let's go ahead and add a secondary weapon system. Because I found that didn't really work for me. So let's do a missile. Since I'm done with shields, we'll replace the shield blocks there with missile capacity. Alright, missile capacity, missile stuff. And go V. So I'll stop spinning. And let's stick a missile computer here. Except I don't want it to be a regular old missile computer. I'd like it to be linked to a beam. So now I have homing. And let's do a single missile. So let's go like 5 wide and is that 15 deep? 25 deep? Whatever. There we go, and that takes up 80% of our livelihood. There we go. So now I hit G and I bring my missile here. So use your shield to, or your beam to hit the shields, and then missile to hit him. Let's see, how did that actually do? Then make sure shields are down and fire. Alright, that was a square in the rear. That penetrated the armor and did shallow damage to the systems. That is close enough to viable for me for this particular ship. Because this thing's not much bigger than the Isanth itself. Also, my thrust to mass is pretty good. And I'm using 82% of my energy while the missile is reloading, so that's good. And let's see if I can't squeeze a few of these in here. Let's see. Turn on the symmetry mode, the missile capacity, so I have more than one missile. For this setup, I don't think I need more than 4 missiles. But I also don't know how much energy we're gonna be. There we go. Yep. And now, now when flying and charging my, reloading my missile, I use 107.6% of my energy. So let's take a few missile out. 103. In that case, let's shed some weight off of the damage beam, because I don't want my missile to be that much weaker. 101. Let's take a little off the shields. There we go. Oh, I don't have any shield capacity. I knew I was missing something. There they go. 98.2%. That is just fine. So let's add some shield capacitors. Or capacitators. I forgot that entirely. And they don't take up energy, but they do take up space. Alright. So I should probably take a look at my shields. Let's shoot for, I don't know, 10,000? That's probably fine. Okay. Alright, maybe a little more than 10,000. And let's take a little more off the... There we go. That's probably better. 15,000 is probably fine for a vessel like this. In fact, I don't even know how much something like Isanth has. How much does an Isanth have? An Isanth has 8.5, and I use that as my base. But here, we can even take a look at mine, which is a square fighter. My regular fighter has 32,000. Oh, that locked onto the wrong thing. 32,000. So this ship I'm building would not hold up very well against my square fighter, which is a kind of a chunky, dedicated fighting machine. The one I have here, the one we're building here, this is basically a starter, I don't want to die immediately ship. Alright. And this is a functional spaceship. But there's nothing on it. There's nothing on it. That is oh so true, there's nothing on it. So let's rectify that real quick. And let's do so with symmetry mode on to make things faster. Alright. Now, I am not striving for any beauty contest. I just want something that won't explode immediately when shot. Oh, why aren't you building it up in layers? Because, to be frank, in this particular ship, I will sacrifice lots of speed, which I don't really want to do, to get layers of armor. And again, I don't want to sacrifice that speed just for a little extra armor. And for this ship, it probably wouldn't be worth it. This is, again, as I said, a little starter ship, basically. This is a, let's see if we can get this done in only a few minutes ship. Which looks like we're getting close, but not quite there. Let's see. I at least want this to be in. There we go. Looking at my time. Okay, and let's grab some crystal armor. Crystal armor, where are you? Glass door. I don't want glass door. I want black crystal. Because that's one of the easier blocks to see through. Or at least I think it is. Alright. Oops. There we go. Alright, and now I have something workable that's even vaguely functional. It is not pretty. This thing is hideous. But stopping right here, I did this in roughly 15 minutes. So you can build a spaceship that is mostly semi-functional. It's not going to be pretty, but you can build a functional combat spaceship in 15 minutes. And then you can take your time and pretty it up and whatnot. But I just wanted to sort of build one quickly together. And as I said, I wanted to see if I could get it done in an episode. Apparently, nope, can't. At least I can't. But also talking while you're doing it and making horrible mistakes, like forgetting that you didn't include shield capacity. That probably slowed me down a good deal. There we go. So I'm just gonna finish this guy up here. Now I am shrink wrapping, if you will. I think that's the term we used at one point. Shrink wrapping the armor. That is, I'm just putting a thin coat of armor just around the systems, using the systems to define the shape, not the shape to define the systems. In fact, you could rip all this out. In fact, I could go to remove mode and set that up prettier and faster, but I didn't. In fact, I'll even wedge a block. There we go. And on the inside, let's hit like a white light. Let's not go into build mode right now. And let's slab it up. There we go. And here we have, in just a little over 15 minutes, a fully functional, hideous spaceship. Oh, what did my thrusters come? Oh, my thrusters still were at 5.0, so I did way overkill on the thrusters. So this thing should theoretically be able to outrun an Assanth. And if you're a decent shot, which I'm not, you can take an Assanth down. It is possible. And you will definitely be able to survive an accidental drop on a pirate station. I really need a better camera. An accidental drop on a pirate station, something like that, you'd be fine against. There we go. All right. So there we go. This was just a little speed build of this hideous spaceship. But with a little time and refinement, if you even take your time, you can do much, much better than this. I just kind of wanted a fun little project to bring all this together. Probably at some point in the future we'll talk about aesthetics. I know I'm not the one to talk about aesthetics because most of my ships are not particularly aesthetically pleasing, but I can share a few things I know, like how to wedge. You should ask Captain Antilles, he's probably better at it. Anywho, I have been GW608, this has been StarMade, and I will do you cats later.